Hi everybody. One of the last YouTubes we did was a walk around the garden, our pyramid garden, or I would say my plant laboratory, where I put plants together to see how they socially respond to each other and what time frame, and how they can share light and live well collectively together. Some of the areas we're doing that well, and I noted those in that YouTube. We had some plants, Aster sagittifolius, taking over. We took them out, and we're closing here in a week. Our retail will be closed, so I'm going through the retail benches and I'm picking out plants that will create good patterns, and then I'm going to take the cart and fit the plants into some of the open areas that we have in the garden where we've removed plants or the plants have died because of either too dry this spring conditions. So I'll push the cart over there and I'll show you what I'm laying out and what I've chosen on this plant wagon. So I don't know if you remember wagon train back in the 50s with Ward Bond. This is going to be plant wagon train with roydiblik, and we'll try to fit in some plants and relate the patterns to what's existing. So wagons ho. Here's one of our first areas that we, this was Rudbeckia fulgida. I left some in the back and it had seeded in it. It didn't look bad. You'll see that on our first walkthrough of the garden. So there's a large group of Rudbeckia fulgida in here. We took out about 50% of it. I left it in the back here. And it will continue to seed in, but we'll just hoe it out. Something's going to come up here, whether it's a dandelion, chickweed, or Rudbeckia fulgida. But it's cool. I put in, I've not used this plant before. It's Iris fulva. It's a native iris that has dark, almost black flowers. So I'm gonna, and it needs moist soil, and we get moist soil as it rains. So the water collects in this area. So I put Iris fulva in, and a nice drift. And in the back I put a spike plant, Phlomis tuberosa. The Phlomis tuberosa also seeds, but again, because of the density of the garden, it's not going to seed everywhere anymore because these plants are very mature. And if we see seedlings, we can either leave them or hoe them out. So I'm really excited about the Iris fulva. And here I'm doing this for, say, 41 years. I never heard of Iris fulva, and it is a native iris. Pete Outolf said, "Roy, can you find Iris fulva for the Detroit Belle Isle project?" I thought it was a southern iris. I had no idea it was native in the Midwest. So I got seedlings from a group out in the Rockford area who were growing it. So this is very exciting for me to see how this does. So we'll move on to our next opening on the other side of the pyramid. Well, we pulled up to our next location, the plant wagon, and I have Stachys macrantha. Stachys macrantha is a beautiful mounding plant, likes average to slightly moist soil. It has spiked flowers. In fact, you can look it up online. It'd be easier for you to interpret, and you can go over the information a number of times, but it's an excellent plant for slightly on the moist side. So here again, we have water settling in this area. So I'm taking Stachys macrantha, and I'm just going to fill this area in. I have a phlox, a short white phlox in front of that. That's mini pearl. So the purple flowers of the macrantha, let me make sure I got everything off the cart. Yes, I do. Okay. So we'll start there and fill that area in with Stachys macrantha. And then I have Veronica. It's a selection from Proven Winners, Veronica Van Gogh, Very Van Gogh. And we have some, I have a drifting of it through here, and we dug out some of the Aster aggeratoides tiny theo to divide them, to put them into small pots. So I'm just going to fill these holes in with more Veronica Van Gogh up here. You can see I left little parts of tiny Theo so they can spread and fill in along the edges. And then we'll just dense this up with more Veronica Van Gogh. Now I'm taking plants off the front of the cart to put them in the back of the cart so I don't embarrass myself. If I take plants off the front and back of the cart, the whole cart will tip over. And then you guys will just say, wow, what's he up to? Here's another one. And we'll just keep filling in. And it'll be a nice block planting of Veronica Van Gogh. And I have to point out the beautiful foliage Veronica Van Gogh has. It's a very nice foliage Veronica. And we'll put 2 more here. So now we've got the edge filled in with Van Gogh. And here I have one of my favorite geraniums, Geranium magnificum. So I'm going to take the Geranium magnificum and put it right in this area right here. I'm going to fill this in with a beautiful drift of Geranium magnificum. And we have Geranium Victor Riker right here, Riker. And these are sedges. This is fox sedge that's seeded in. It's not even a sedge I grow. So I have no idea how the fox sedge got in here. We're going to take the fox sedge out. It could have come in on another plant. I'm not really sure how it got in the garden. And I might have put it in. And it might have been labeled as another sedge too. That's a possibility. So I'm going to take that out and we're going to put in more Stachys through here. We'll do that later. So let me get the geranium. And look at the beautiful foliage on magnificum. It has wonderfully blue purple flowers in spring, and it has a nice mounding habit. So it'll keep the area fairly full, looking healthy. And I have to say, the plant lives well with itself in somewhat larger groups. It keeps a strong crown. So you can plant them in a group of 15 or 20. And then you just observe it after the 3rd or 4th year and see if it's weakening in the center. Then you can divide them year 4, year 5. Or if it does weaken, you could put something in the middle of it and have continuity of another group of plants starting in the geranium and then moving into its own block or moving into another group of plants. Okay, here's our last one. So we'll get started on that. And then right here I'm going to do another group of plants, and what I might do is continue the Stachys gold towel over there and continue gold towel right through here. It'll transition nicely into shade and take the moist soil. Well, off we go. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. I have Penstemon dark towers here. What I'm going to do is put the Penstemon dark towers in the back. I think you can see as I walk back there, we had a very dry spring. In fact, we had 6 weeks, I believe, 6 weeks without rainfall from mid-May to late June. And you can see Calamagrostis Carl Forster. It does well in shade, but it really suffered because of the dry spring. So when plants that require good soil moisture in spring don't get that soil moisture, they live through it, but they don't have a healthy year. And the Carl Forster is not having a healthy year, but next year when we have soil moisture, depending on health of the crown, it should come up and do well. And I have to say, I didn't really start irrigating the garden. I was a little late. I didn't start irrigating until about mid-June. So I was a little late doing it because of everything we have to do in the spring as far as caring for other people's gardens. So I screwed up. So now I'm going to put Penstemon dark towers. I'm just going to drift it through here and have it go all along this shaded edge. And it will do well in the drier soils too, but it also will take the extra irrigation, the additional irrigation I'll give it if we have a dry spring again. Let me get a few more plants off the cart. You know, this is too much fun. This isn't, people call, Roy, you're doing so much yard work. And what is yard work? I have no idea what yard work is. This is like joyfully gardening. This is having way too much fun. There. I got one more on the cart. And this is a good time of year to do this, to assess your garden. And you could just clean out where you're going to replant and do your replanting in the spring too. You could take more time to think about what you're going to put in. You could divide plants out other parts of the garden. I have to admit, I can do this because I grow 65,000 perennials. So when you own the candy store, I can run in, get something, and run back out and put it in. So it is much easier for me to do that. But again, if you sit in the winter and think of where your gaps and holes are, you can fill it in economically by just getting smaller plants too from good growers who have different sizes available. I've got this one. Well, we've gone through and covered some of the areas that I opened up in the last week or so after the show, the previous show that we went through, and found some spots we needed to enhance. And I guess that's the best way to approach it, is it's an enhancement moment where you take the garden, you assess it, you feel where you're comfortable, what you'd like to put in, even what you'd like to try, but you're trying it because you know it, because you've planted it somewhere you know the characteristics of the plant and how it'll mingle with the plants you have. And also, that's gardening. How could it be more joyful? And moving the plants around, putting them in a situation where they can live and share light together and live well together. And I think this is just fun. So don't get over anxious about anything. Don't get overworked about anything. Just pace yourself. That's all I try. Just pace myself. Put the plants in, and we'll see how everything works out. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.